Long before the shattering revelation knocked the younger Spencer heir off his steady footing, Will Spencer believed himself to be firmly anchored, part of a legacy, part of a burgeoning love with Electra Forrester, confident that his future lay with her and not with the shadows of the past. But then the tempest hit. His world recalibrated in a single moment when the truth emerged. Luna's child is his. The quiet ambitions, the shared laughter, the tentative promise of us with Electra, everything now trembles under the weight of an unborn baby, a woman behind bars, and the specter of uncertain parenthood. According to previews, Will was blindsided by the knowledge of his paternity, and though Luna sits in custody, the baby remains a living reminder that the past cannot simply be locked away. Celebrating the Soaps Plus 2 Soap Opera News Plus 2 Will stares at that future from two vantage points. One, the solid ground he believed he stood on beside Electra. The other, a slippery incline that leads through legal guardianship discussions, the Forrester and Spencer family scheming, and Luna's unpredictable behavior. He fears, too, loss. The loss of Electra's full devotion, the loss of the simple life he once visualized, the loss of control. In the story notes, he worries about losing Electra amid the chaos. Celebrating the Soaps Plus 1 The clash is not mere circumstance. It drills into his identity. He asks himself, can I be the father of this child from a woman I hardly trust, while promising a future to the one I love? And even if I can, what will Electra ask of me? What will I become? Into that swirl of unease steps Electra, resolute in the face of so much that would shatter a gentler heart. The world remembers her as resilient, as someone who has endured trauma, betrayal, and defamation. But now the real test comes not from what's behind her, but what lies ahead. Previews indicate that on this upcoming episode, Electra will be forced to confront the truth of Luna's pregnancy in ways that will push her emotional limits. Soap Opera News Plus 1 She loves Will. She has staked hopes on a calm, loving partnership, and yet that love is now threaded with a complication too large to ignore. Does she stay? Does she demand that Will choose her wholly, without that unborn child hanging between them? Or does she question whether the clean line she believed existed between them ever truly existed? The heartbreak arrives in stages. First the quiet, internal fracture as Electra sees the world shift. Then the moment of realization. If she stays with Will, she is bound for life to Luna's child. If she leaves, she loses the one person she has fought to rebuild her life around. Reports say that Electra will have a heartbreaking moment when thinking of Luna's pregnancy. Celebrating the Soaps Plus 1 Someone who has known pain is being asked to endure more pain for the sake of love. That is her battleground. And while her Aunt Ivy Forrester may have warned that this burden is too much for Electra to take, the instinct to cling remains fierce. Celebrating the Soaps Plus 1 It is a test of will, identity, loyalty, and of the terrifying possibility that sometimes love alone cannot settle the debt of what was done. The third pillar in this unfolding is the figure of Luna Nozawa, quiet no more, the epicenter of seismic change. She carries the baby, yes, but she also harbors agendas. She has been in custody, but the issue is far from resolved. According to the spoilers, she intentionally staged a beating to gain sympathy. Celebrating the Soaps Plus 1 that alone speaks volumes of her calculation, of her desperation, and of how far she's willing to go to insert herself, or stay inserted, into the narrative of Will and Electra. The fact that she told her prison cellmate expressly not to hit her stomach suggests that her endgame is more than just survival, it is leverage. Celebrating the Soaps Plus 1, and so Will and Electra find themselves not just grappling with a child, but with Luna's unpredictable machinations, the danger of manipulation, and the cold truth that so much is at stake. Overlaying all this is the intervention of Katie Logan and her husband Bill Spencer. Katie has placed herself in the driver's seat, promising to adopt Luna's baby and raise the child as their own. Celebrating the Soaps Plus 1 She assures Will and Electra that they should continue living their lives, that they should cling to each other. Yet the reassurance rings hollow when seen through the lens of family expectation and legacy. Will is being tied into yet another branch of the family tree, The Spencers, the Forresters, the adoption promises. Katie's bold move suggests control, protection, maybe even preemptive quieting of scandal, but it does not guarantee peace. Because what one makes public and what one carries privately often diverge, especially in a world built on secrets and ambition. Katie's intent may be noble, or at least strategic, but the line between love and manipulation in this high-stakes scenario is razor-thin. Thus the stage is fully drawn, while teetering between fatherhood, love, identity, Elektra struggling to stay anchored in her devotion while the ground shifts beneath her, Luna as the unpredictable catalyst whose unborn child changes the geometry of relationships, Katie and Bill offering sanctuary, but also threading a new level of complication. The air is taut with emotional tension, legacy, betrayal, fear, and hope. Consider the internal conflict within Will. He must square his sense of loyalty to Elektra with his emerging responsibility to Luna's child. His dreams of a straightforward future vanish overnight. He may feel guilt, not only because of the circumstances of the pregnancy, but because he knows Elektra is suffering. He may feel fear of losing her, fear of his own inadequacy as father or partner, fear of the relentless intrusion of family ambition. He may resent that his own life is no longer purely his, but a chess piece moved by others. The spreadsheets of business, the legacies of Spencer and Forrester, the promise of adoption, they shape his reality, whether he likes it or not. In that sense, his real enemy is not Luna or Elektra. It is the loss of self-determination, the quiet whisper that his future is being decided for him. Elektra's inner struggle is equally potent. She's fought for stability and love after tumult. She has chosen Will and believed in their love story. But the connection now comes with strings tied to an unborn child, public speculation, family involvement, and the fear that she becomes secondary to this new equation. She has to ask herself, is this what I signed up for? Does staying mean sacrificing my autonomy, my peace, my identity? The heartbreak she faces will not be an external explosion. It will be the slow erosion of belief and the quiet shattering of how she once saw her future. The moment when she realizes that if she stays, she is bound to Luna's narrative forever. That truth will feel like a betrayal of her own self. The spoilers say as much. Her boyfriend will be tied to the villain, through their child together, for the rest of his life, and she will have to reckon with that. The soap scoop plus one Luna, on the surface, might appear the antagonist, and perhaps in the conventional sense she is, but in soap drama terms she is the pressure point through which truth, pain, and consequence flow. Is she aware of the power she holds? The beating, the manipulation, the pregnant silence, they suggest someone testing limits, someone who may believe that the child is not only a conduit to Will, but to leverage with Bill and Elektra, perhaps to the Forrester/Spencer families as a whole. When she orchestrates events that make Will uncomfortable, Elektra insecure, and Katie intervene, Luna stakes a claim not just on the unborn child, but on the narrative of Will's future, the outcome of his love with Elektra, and the power dynamics of the prominent families. The story hints she asked her cellmate not to strike her stomach. That level of control is chilling, and the question it raises is, what is she willing to lose, or to make Will lose, in order to win? Katie and Bill's involvement intensifies the stakes further. Katie promising adoption seems altruistic, but in the soap world such promises often carry latent freight. When a child of the Spencer name is involved, legacy, inheritance, reputation, and power swirl around the cradle. Will and Elektra are told to live their lives together. That is the message, but beneath it lies the expectation that they will live within a framework. The child goes to Katie/Bill, yet Will is father. Elektra stays as Will's partner. But what of the child? Who's primary? Who's secondary? The plotting suggests that the adoption may become a sword as much as a shield. Will might feel indebted to Katie and Bill. Elektra might feel overshadowed. In short, peace may wear the mask of compromise while carrying the kernel of conflict. The upcoming Friday episode promises not only drama, but a turning point. Elektra's heartbreaking moment is not just a scene, it is a narrative hinge. The moment when she realizes that not only is she loving a man with a past, but a man whose past is irrevocably tied to someone else's child. That means she is loving, by extension, the past as well, whether she intended to or not. The person she thought she shared exclusive future with now shares a future with others. It's a wound of expectation, identity, hope, and fear. The key question becomes, will Elektra ultimately choose to stay and fight for the love and all its complications, or will she walk away before the complications become irreversible? The previews raise that question, but don't answer it. Soap opera news for Will. The moment is equally seismic. The shock of discovering paternity might have passed, but the process of resolving identity is only beginning. Does he embrace fatherhood? Does he prioritize Elektra? Does he simultaneously attempt to satisfy the promise to Katie and Bill? The emotional cost may be immeasurable, leading his partner into a world she never asked for, being torn between love and legacy, and stepping into a father role he never expected. Will's emotional arc now traverses fear, duty, guilt, love, and ambition. His real crisis is internal. Does he want a child? Does he want Elektra? Does he want the Spencer legacy? And if the answers conflict, which priority wins? The geometry of relationships among the four of them, Will, Elektra, Luna, and Katie, and Bill as peripheral yet potent, creates tension lines that are not merely romantic, but structural. Alliances form, Elektra with Will, Katie with Bill, antagonisms, Luna with Elektra, Luna with Will, secret obligations, Will to Katie/Bill, Will to Elektra, obligations unspoken, Elektra to herself, Elektra to Will, legacy burdens, Spencer family, Forrester family. When emotional obligations collide with family obligations, the shock waves travel far beyond a single couple. The setting of this drama is important too. In the high-stakes world of fashion, power, scheming, and public image, the personal is the political. Titles matter. Names matter. Bloodlines matter. In this environment, the private grief, Elektra's heartbreak, Will's internal collapse, will be magnified by public expectation. Their walk down hallways at Forrester Creations, their interactions at Spencer events, their conversations with Bill and Katie, all will carry the ghost of the unborn child, of Luna's machinations, of family legacy. The simple romantic story Will and Elektra once dreamed of no longer exists. It's being rewritten in broad strokes by the drama unleashed. There is also the theme of trust and betrayal. Will trusted his future. Elektra trusted her heart. Luna trusted she would find a hold. Katie trusted she could protect. And now trust is the first casualty. Elektra wonders what to trust. Will's love, Will's promise, Will's future. Will wonders what to trust, his instincts, his partner, his family. Luna might trust nothing and no one but her own plan. Katie might trust that authority can save what love cannot. Each character stands on shifting ground. The heartbreak is not simply that someone will be hurt, it is that someone's own version of themselves is unraveling. In narrative terms, Friday, November 7th, marks a pivot. The spoiler highlights explicitly, Elektra will have a heartbreaking moment thinking of Luna's pregnancy. Soap opera news +1. It is a forewarning, a hush before the storm. The drama will not solely be in big gestures, but in that moment of quiet horror, of seeing a future that you believed was yours being redrawn without your consent. With soap operatic clarity, the child becomes both symbol and weapon. Symbol of life, weapon of disruption. Luna holds that child, and thus holds a measure of power over Will and Elektra's world. Katie claims to neutralize it with adoption, but in doing so, she transforms it into a cornerstone of control. It is worth emphasizing how Elektra's internal state will reflect all of this. She has to hold strong, appear composed for Will, maintain her professional life, yet behind the scenes her heart will contract with each reminder of the baby. She will gaze at Will, knowing he is father, yet wondering how much of him belongs to her. She will observe Luna's presence, even via proxy, knowing that the woman she considers antagonist is connected to the one she loves by way of this child. She will face Ivy's warnings and perhaps judge them harshly, but recognize the sorrow in them. She may ask, perhaps silently, can love really transcend this? The text of the spoiler suggests that yes, this may be too much for Elektra to take. Celebrating the soap's +1 from outside the immediate quartet, the family dynamics intensify. Katie's promise to adopt may be construed by Will as both support and interference. Bill's presence looms large as patriarch of the Spencer line. His involvement means public visibility. For Elektra, violating the expectations of the Forrester/Spencer alliance may carry consequences. For Will, the Spencer legacy's expectations may conflict with the messy private truth he now holds. Luna's unintended or intended entanglement with the family may position her as threat or as lever. And Ivy, quietly in the wings, asks the ethical question, is this future one that Elektra truly wants? That question echoes across the narrative. What will happen on Friday? Anticipation suggests that Elektra will reach a breaking point. She will face the thought, not only that Will has a child with Luna, but that her own future is being compromised. Will face the burden, not only of fatherhood, but of choosing where his devotion lies. Luna may strike another chord, perhaps pushing further the idea that the baby cements her influence. Katie may position the adoption as solution, but may the solution come at personal cost to Will and Elektra's relationship? Each character stands at a crossroads. The drama thus becomes not mere plot, but internal transformation. Will is no longer simply boyfriend of Elektra. He is father, partner, heir, medium of promise and burden. Elektra is no longer simply girlfriend or lover. She is potential stepmother, partner to complex realities, the woman asked to sustain love under duress. Luna is no longer simply challenger. She is mother, wrench in the machine, unpredictable force. Katie is no longer simply aunt/friend. She is guardian, power broker, central to the outcome. And the viewer watches not just for what will happen, but for what happens within each of them. The heartbeat in the silence, when Elektra realizes she may lose more than she thought. The tremor in Will's face when he contemplates his obligation. The cold glint in Luna's eyes when she realizes she holds something no one else controls. The composed smile of Katie when the adoption promise is made even as she knows the storm yet to break. The emotional core is heartbreak, yes, but also decision. Will choose Elektra with all her fears? Will Elektra choose love, knowing the tie that binds is no longer simple? Will Luna escalate or relent? Will Katie's adoption truly solve or simply complicate? The conflict is not external alone. It is internal, psychological. Who am I, and who will I become? When love collides with duty, when desire collides with legacy, when past collides with future, the self becomes the battlefield. In that one upcoming episode, much may shift. Elektra's moment of heartbreak may mark an irrevocable turn. Either the couple unites stronger, or the rift begins. Will's life may pivot. Either he embraces fatherhood and a new kind of marriage, or he recoils into regret. Luna's baby may become either bridge or barrier, either shared future or fault line. Katie's promise may become salvation or noose. The show sets the pieces. The internal storms then determine who survives and who is changed. And changed they will be. Relationships altered, trust fractured, identities remade. The heartbeats that once felt safe will now sound like alarms. The kisses that once promised tomorrow will now echo with what if. The family dinners will now include questions no one wants to ask. The prestigious houses of Spencer and Forrester will witness intimate trauma in broad daylight. The beauty of this narrative lies in the duality. Still the glamour, the wealth, the power of Forrester and Spencer, but beneath that shine lies raw human fear. The unborn child is fragile and precious, but also a wrecking ball. The love between Will and Elektra is sincere, but burdened. Luna's manipulation is grotesque, but born of her own desperation. Katie's guardianship is generous, but laced with control. For the viewer, the thrill is not just in the reveal, Will is father, but in the fallout, how each soul fights to retain some fragment of future they once envisioned. Will's dream with Elektra, Elektra's dream of peace, Luna's dream of recognition, Katie's dream of family. These dreams now orbit one another in collision. And in that collision, someone will ache, someone will change, someone will decide. Thus, as Friday approaches, we brace for not just soap drama, but emotional tsunami. On November 7th, 2025, the bold and the beautiful will deliver a turning point. Elektra's heartbreaking moment, Will's existential reckoning, Luna's ambiguous power move, Katie's adoption promise shifting the ground beneath all of them. It is not a story of victory or defeat yet. It is a story of survival, of love under fire, of identity fragmentation.